Oh, I also have another idea. So if black holes separate you from energy and matter and like separate them, right?
Yeah,
It can theoretically go because you know black holes like don't like absorb things like right away. They like
yeah,
take it into like a spinning motion, right?
yeah. They
Like a
spin it
dream,
around.
right?
Yeah, no, they spin it around the event horizon, and then they just suck it up later.
Okay. What happens if you move with it to go even faster? Because if you go even faster, you technically would go back in time
Yeah,
where your energy and matter will become one again, and you would pretty much time travel back into the past.
yeah.
Because you'll or or you'll teleport into the future. Who knows?
Who knows? Fucking somebody, I think. I don't know who the. I don't. I genuinely don't know the fuck who, but I feel like at some point we're gonna figure this shit out.
Hey, yeah, boy. Okay, so we would need to start making it working on an equation.
Yeah.
But the issue is, my school doesn't want to let me learn calculus.
Why?
I don't know. They said it's only for like you have to become a senior to study. And when you're a senior, they only teach you pre-calculus. So like, bro, just let me study what I want to, like the
Yeah.
max.
Yeah. That's
But no, they
that's
want to teach me some geometry.
that's stupid. Just learn it
Like, bro,
yourself.
it's
You learn 90% of the shit that you learned from yourself, like just
I
by
return.
doing it yourself. So do it yourself, nigga.
yeah, but I want to have like someone that has studied that to like talk to like physically. Because when I feel like when I talk to people, I can better get a better comprehension of what we're learning and what we're talking about. So I'm more like a spatial slash physical learner,
Yeah.
and I'm also
That's
able to create like really specific 3D images in my head of what I'm thinking about and like all these things.
Oh yeah.
So theoretically speaking, if we learn calculus, then that's the framework because calculus is pretty much the framework for gravity in itself. So if we add it to the final equation of the universe, okay,
Yeah.
right? So if we figure out a way to simplify it in a way that we can put it in the equation, so we can figure out the overall mathematics of our dimensional space, then we pretty much conquer our dimensional space, and then we can move on to a high dimensional space.
Yeah.
Because for the final equation that scientists are working on and physicists, and they're missing to add gravity. But because gravity has such a minor effect, it's correct, but it's kind of not correct at the same time. Because it's correct to a certain state, but it's not like 100% correct. It covers everything. So we have to add that last fundamental part to make the whole equation work.
Yeah.
also David, because I have the Hatsune Miku car, I also got a free Nikkei 30 decal with it.
That's funny.
Because because I already had the car, it doesn't make me buy anything. So I have a Nikkei 30. So I have a Nikkei 30 decal and I have an Adidas decal.
That's funny.
I'm gonna use Miku car for a bit.
It is.
Actually, you know what? Let me see something real quick. Ah, okay. Let me explain something. So you know how I was talking about how the Quadra Turbo in Fortnite has wheel covers over it that make it look incorrect?
Yeah.
It's technically correct when you have the VTEC livery on. When you don't have the VTEC livery on, that's when it's incorrect.
That's funny.
Because the VTEC livery does come with the wheel covers, but the just a regular version does not.
No, God.
So, Astro, I have another question.
Go ahead.
So, do you think the fundamental equation that covers most of the equations, right, and like the fundamental forces of the universe, right? Do you think that would only cover up to the third and fourth dimension, and then we would need to make a higher equation once we reach higher dimensional states? Or would that
Yeah.
equation cover it all?
There's no way I could cover it all because there's always variables. It doesn't matter how many you account for. There's always going to be many, many variables. And then of course, there's something made by a species that can only comprehend up to the third dimension. So if it were to be able to cover any other dimensions, it would be made by a species that can comprehend those dimensions. Because species that don't have access to comprehension that high can't create equations for something that high because then they'd be missing variables for those equations. They'd be missing symbols and like rules for those things, and it just end up being wrong.
Yeah, because I feel like humans are. I feel like humans are capable. Well,
We are
we
capable
have
of
to simplify
comprehending it.
things.
Yeah. We're able to comprehend stuff like that, but we have to but we have to simplify it so hard to the point where it end up being oversimplified, and it would work, but it wouldn't work well enough. It would always fall just short, like precisely how we can't travel the speed of light, but we can travel just below the speed of light.
Yeah, because pretty much to travel at the speed of light, you have to use the functions of the third dimension to go at the speed of light. But if we want to go beyond that, we have to add factors from the fourth dimension that we're able to comprehend. So we have to add length, width, space to travel at the speed of light, okay? But we also
Exactly.
have to move close to the speed of light, like almost getting close to the speed of light, that the drag force becomes greater than the force we're actually bringing towards it. So we achieve negative energy. So at that point, we do a mini time travel back, and if we do it long enough, we could time travel back in time exactly when the universe started. So we could achieve the time because for something to travel faster than the speed of light, it had to be traveling it its whole life. So that
Exactly.
means that we would theoretically need to find a way to defy Newton's law of motion, of making one force greater than the other, that we achieve negative energy, that which a negative speed, that we could go back in time, and after we go back in time, we can start going faster than the speed of light. So after we go faster, we already added half of the fundamentals of the fourth dimension, which is time.
Yeah.
So then we keep on moving faster, so you can master. Because before we been back in time, right? We conquered the middle, present, right? But because we went negative speed, we mastered the past. But if we go take advantage of the full speed we collected, then we can master the last part. Then we would master the full fourth dimension. But once we've mastered the full fourth dimension, we would need to evolve humans in such a way that they could comprehend that.
Yep.
Which I feel like we would probably, if we keep on evolving as a civilization and don't collapse, we would probably get stuck at probably a third and fourth stage civilization, because that's when you have to start breaking the laws of physics you already know, and because we're not evolving at such a pace that we need to our minds, that it's becoming harder and harder to comprehend. So that's why people they're not achieving as much as we used to, because back then there was less to achieve and there was less unknown. So
yeah,
we need to evolve humans, because just let me give you an example of biology, right? In biology, you have to use symbols and you have to give letters and codes, because people normally don't understand the code of biology, like the DNA, right? Because you have to color scheme it and everything.
yeah.
But that shows how simple our minds think. So we have to figure out a way to evolve as a race and as a humanity, to evolve beyond our human limitations and go beyond that.
Yeah. Yeah, because when it boils down to it, like you said, humans aren't evolving at a fast enough rate to comprehend it. Because the longer universe goes on, the more complex things start to be like the more time passes, the more complex things become. And humans aren't evolving at a rapid enough rate in order to keep up with that complexity. So something that we were able to achieve 400 ish years ago, we were able to do that because the universe was at a state where it was easy to comprehend something like that. But time has gone on so far enough to the point where it's hard to comprehend something like that because we're simply not evolving fast enough.
So do you think that the best way to evolve humans in a fast enough rate would be genetic, like that we physically modify them, or we do natural selection, where we start gathering a bunch of smart people and we make them all the time use their max like brain power, and then we make them like have kids, right? And then eventually we'll have those kids keep on using 100% of their brain power always and beyond. So it forces them to adapt and go beyond that. I feel like the only reason that we evolved at such a decent state of brain power is because I feel like once we are able to cook food, our brains like figured out that if we keep on daydreaming and like thinking, we'll things will become simpler and faster for us. So because we have such weak bodies compared to other mammals,
Yeah.
that we would survive based off our brain. So we could just trick natural selection, or we physically start messing with genes.
Let's propose the idea of doing both. Because if we were to take those already intelligent humans and then modify them to be more intelligent, yes, some might perish in the process due to their physical form being unable to house a what's essentially a supercomputer. Um, then, but the sorry, I'm trying to remember what I was saying. Some of them might not be able to comprehend it, end up dying, their brains explode, overheat, melt into mush, whichever gruesome possibility you'd like. Pick your poison. But we take the ones that survive the enhancement, have those breed, get that super child, of course, get more super children, genetically modify those super children so they have what's essentially the height of their parents' intelligence at a young age, then grow that intelligence. And then rinse and repeat that
Yeah,
process.
but eventually the parents. But wouldn't we eventually reach either a barrier where they're not able to learn more than that, or will it grow so fast that their parents won't be able to teach them anymore? So they have to become self-taught. But if they become self-taught, that will that will make it way harder because they won't understand our building blocks. Because either they'll understand our building blocks and fix our mistakes, or they won't comprehend it because they're at a higher state of being.
And that's where the next thing comes in. If we, since they'll have the knowledge of their parents, they'll understand our basic building blocks. And not only do they have their regular state of comprehension, they also have all generations before them as knowledge. So, like I said, not only do they have all the new knowledge, they also have all the old knowledge, which in turn grows the brain, and the human body is mostly designed to have some free space after or the human body is meant to have space to grow, even if it has a ton of information already.
Yeah, because we're already starting to develop computers that use living human parts. But
Yeah.
they're not. They're faster than what supercomputers we're building, but it's because our brains are able to adapt. But overall, eventually, we'll build a computer better than our brains. So then we can use those fundamental building blocks to adapt humans or evolve them in a rate.
Precisely.
Science is so elegant.
Real. It allows us to achieve things that we never thought possible, and then some. It allows us to comprehend the incomprehensible.
We could
One of
take over the 9 realms and become Thor.
One of my favorite things is any technology that's sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah.
Magic, that word doesn't exist in my vocabulary.
I
I
know.
call it science.
Yeah. All magic is advanced science. That's it.
Yeah.
It's an old world word for science, essentially.
Because like fucking chemical reactions.
Yeah.
Like people thought people doing chemical reactions, they thought that they were a witch and doing like
Mhm.
casting a spell or some shit. But no, it's genuinely just science.
And that brings me
Hey, I
to
have a
my next set of words. Witch, warlock, wizard, that's all just another word for scientist.
Yeah.
Guys, how funny would it be if we just go back in time and then we just like start messing with like the people of the past? Like we just like start like where we say we're aliens, man, and we start like pulling like a bunch of like random advanced technology.
We had them a Nintendo. We had them a regular Nintendo Switch 1. Let's see what happens.
We give a Victorian child a Tech 9.
We give them a singular starburst and see what happens.
Get in the Miku car, loser. We're going to save the Sekai.
And Astro, I have a question. So would
Shoot
it be
off.
better for humans to physically do the same things that they're already doing so their body doesn't evolve physically but just mentally? Because the more we advance, the more we change culturally and physically, right? So that means that our bodies will also need to like spend time and like energy evolving our body. But if it just spends most of the time evolving our body, then our brain won't be able to keep on having the massive jumps we need.
Exactly. If we were to neglect the physical form, then we would grow to a crab, essentially. We would grow to a form that disallows for. We would grow to a form that disallows regular physical movement. We would also disallow for. Oh wait, hold on. Ooh. Anyways, we would grow to a form that can't hold the body, or that can't hold the mind, and then if we over
He's back. He left and now he's back.
if we over like train the mind, then we get to a situation where our body can't sustain the mind, and vice versa. If we over adapt our body, then we get to a form where the mind is lacking and then the body becomes utterly useless.
So you're saying that our body won't be able to sustain our minds anymore? Now we get to a point.
If we neglect the physical form, then yes, we will not be able to. We will not be able to. We will not be able to sustain our body, or we will not be able to sustain our mind, which leads to our demise, essentially, as a species.
Wouldn't one way to stop that is us becoming one with technology? Because if we become one with technology, then we wouldn't have a physical body to stop us.
Yeah,
but also
but
we
then
still have to have a brain and
yeah,
DNA
and that's what I was gonna say.
inside
At
that.
that point,
So we still
we
need
become
to have a level of evolution. Because if we just have computers, if we just become fully computer, we won't be able to think of what we already know. So we won't. You'll become smarter, but then we'll reach a point. So we still need evolution because we start to grow.
Yeah,
Because if you just grow once, you won't be able to make it that far. You'll make it far, but it's a
Yeah.
far reach that
if we
by the
if
time we reach
we-
it, we're gonna be stuck there.
yeah, if we do turn our bodies to chrome, to machine, to electronics, then we become no better than the best than the most powerful computer that we can make. Which completely defeats the point of being human, which is to grow and evolve a physical form.
Yeah. So wouldn't we? Because if we evolve with our minds faster, then once we make it to, it might take us longer to achieve something, but by the time we reach it, our minds will already been adapting how much we'll make a new goal, and then a new goal, and then a new goal.
Yeah.
So overall, we would make it farther, but it would take more time because we'll technically just be chasing our goal infinitely because there will be always a new goal in sight.
Yeah.
Technically, if our goals become too difficult, eventually we'll just give up.
Yeah.
So we'll still need some level of competitiveness in humans. So that's the reason we survived this long. So we need more competitiveness in the human mind. Not just physically, but mentally.
And that's where what I said earlier comes in, where the universe is getting more complex faster than humans can evolve into like comprehension for it.
David.
Yeah.
Is it possible that you can make the sound quality better? Because it keeps on glitching out. It keeps on like cutting out. So
I don't think so.
where's Albert Einstein when we need him?
He's in the fucking
Hey, do you
ground.
think it's
That's where he
possible
is.
to bring him back? Like,
Easily.
Yeah.
Any
like,
human, as long as we have some sample of their intellect and of their DNA, we can recreate them, no problem.
Yeah.
Hell, if we want to, we can
we
bring
have
Hitler
some
back.
of his brain.
It's real.
So
Yeah.
theoretically, we could bring him back, but then we'll need to simulate their life perfectly that we could get the Einstein we knew. Because even if one thing's a bit off, it could change the trajectory like completely, like the butterfly effect. That one small action can change something drastically.
Yeah.
Damn.
Hey, Astro, do you know a lot about the fifth dimension? Because
Not
I
particularly.
mostly only understand the first. I know the zero, the first, the second, the third, and the fourth. Because I studied really hard on those, but I haven't really gone to five.
Lobby.
So could you give me like a like a simple example?
I'll try to, but the fifth dimension isn't really my strong suit. My main strong suit is being able to is mainly physics. But
So it
with
would be like something above our universe, right?
yeah, it would the best way the way I found I like to explain it is that it's essentially fucking dark matter is how
Yeah.
I like to say it. 'Cause when it comes down to it, the so if the or fourth, if the crap, I can't speak. If the fourth dimension is time, then that would mean the fifth dimension is space, correct? And if the fifth dimension is space, then the closest thing we have to space would be dark matter, or the closest thing we are able to manipulate space would be dark matter.
Wait, but isn't the third dimension already space? Because the first dimension is length, then the second dimension
Hmm.
is width, including, and then
Hmm.
the third dimension is space, right? And then the fourth is time.
Yeah.
That's what Einstein
No,
equations. So, are we talking about a different type of space, or are we talking about all the, like a multiverse type theory? Because it's outside our our physical universe, right? Because our universe only understands up to the fourth dimension. Oh, that's what we know of. So
yeah,
couldn't like fifth dimension feel like the singularity of the black hole?
that's fair. That's a good stance on it. Yeah, I could see that. I could see it being the singularity. But yeah, no. I'm not well versed enough in the fifth dimension to explain it.
Yeah, you're more into physics and theoretical physics.
Yeah, mostly. And then probability too, because I like probability.
Yeah, we love knowing gambling chances.
Yeah.
Because
Hey, so
gambling is
like,
fun.
hey, David,
Yeah.
imagine if we just like pulled with the world's biggest prank, okay? Like we time shot, we pull like a big prank, bro.
I want to give Adolf Hitler an M37 rotary grenade launcher and see what happens.
Nine.
The Jews are coming.
Hey, wait, imagine you gave him the blueprints and like all the strategies that the allies were gonna use.
I
You
just
would have
give
been
him the
you would have been
entire.
cooked.
I just give him like the entirety of every single thing that America was gonna do.
I
Fuck
just
everything.
want to make I just want to make an EVA unit, dude.
Fair enough.
I just want to make an EVA unit.
Yeah.
Like EVA unit, Gundam. Hell, I wanna create a one-to-one Praetor suit.
Oh, one-to-one Praetor suit,
Real.
including the durability of one.
Yes.
You want to make it. You want to make a metal, very flexible suit that is strong enough to withstand an explosion 16 times larger. Almost, I think, more than 2 times larger than the theoretical biggest explosion that was gonna be made.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Imagine we go back in time and we give like Eisenhower the Praetor suit.
Hold on. I'm gonna go on YouTube.
Wait,
Well, like
ask
on my
Rob a
Oculus
question.
Quest.
So you know when a neutron star keeps on like moving, right? It's
Yes.
touches strange matter, but everything that touches strange matter becomes more strange matter. So if, like one little particle of strange matter goes like it's like a planet, right? It all becomes strange matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
But would there be a limit on how far it could expand? Because energy isn't. There is a limit on energy. So would there be a limit on that?
I mean, yeah, everything has a limit. It doesn't matter how complex, how infinite something may seem, everything has to have a limit.
Because if you follow Einstein's equation, the space and time are just one big brick, and our universe, as we know it, it's just space and time with length and width. So why wouldn't the strange particle just existing turn the whole universe into strange matter? Wouldn't that make it that there is a gap in between space and time?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's
And-
like kind of hard to
and I-
jump in between, like jump to just escape to a next dimensional space.
Yeah. And then that also once again supports what I had said earlier in the conversation where oh, like I said, where the end of the expanse of the universe has an ever collapsing vacuum at the end of it, which once again prevents everything from any matter, physical or not, from being able to pass through it.
Yeah, so there's a gap in between everything. So wouldn't
Yeah.
that just prove that there's a gap in between each dimension, right? So that's why it's hard to jump between dimensions. Because if it was easier, then wouldn't all the dimensions just be one?
Yeah.
So being the separation in between all of them,
Mm-hmm.
that proves that there is a gap between space and time, right?
Yeah. And that barrier is what prevents strange matter from essentially causing the end of the universe, the instantaneous end of the universe.
How fun.
Real. And if we were to try and calculate it, I'd say that roughly it would be the size of a slice of Swiss cheese, or like that's the thickness of it. So
That'd be hilarious. First gets struck down. A strange matter of the size of a string cheese.
no, a slice of Swiss cheese.
That would be a weird ass snack to have.
Or like, yes, let me just chew on the barrier that prevents the universe from being completely destroyed.
Yeah.
Well, you probably couldn't consume it.
Tasty minerals.
Don't you just love living with the fact that the entire universe is being held up and not destroyed by a singular piece of Kraft singles?
Yeah, by a singular piece of
Kraft
matter,
singles.
a singular piece of matter that is the thickness of a craft single.
Yeah,
God,
essentially.
God bless the universe.
Real. God bless America at this point.
how far can God go with America?
Yes.
Like we're already fucked up enough.
Real. Real.
The president's already thinking of deploying the National Guard here. It won't matter.
Yeah, no, we're absolutely
You
screwed.
already did.
I know.
Yeah.
Stop jinxing it, David.
And they're also deploying the fucking Marines in
Yeah.
LA.
And the Navy. And the Navy.
Oh yeah, and the Navy. For fucking some reason. Why
David,
the Navy?
I'm
I don't fucking know.
He had. Oh, do you
David,
know Trump had a military parade?
Yeah.
David, revive me.
just
I'm gonna die myself.
luckily took the line perfectly on his birthday. Mmm. How suspicious.
I'm guessing you
Just
did,
starting to
you
look
did it
for
for a
North
quest,
Korea,
Astro.
man.
Huh?
I'm guessing you did it for a quest.
No, I'm doing it so we can get that little bit of hero rank that we need left. There we go. No, yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
I want the mythic kill switch revolvers. I actually learned how to use them, which is really nice.
Okay.
Where are those damn revolvers? These are just purple. That's just gold. That's a mythic hyper burst pistol. Where the hell? I'll just buy these gold ones for now. It's only 800 and I have max gold already. Yippee.
I have 3,000 currently.
I have 4,200.
Yeah, that's sense to me.
Why do I feel like we're on a watch list now that we've
I-
figured all this out?
No, that would make sense to me. Legally, Discord does have to give everything we send to the U.S. government.
Realistically, yeah.
No, it genuinely do.
Yeah.
So it would make sense to me.
You might.
Watch the CIA like
we should send it through Messenger, because Messenger is private. And their privacy page, it says the messages are just link between you and the other person. But if it's read by anyone else, you could theoretically do Messenger, because it also says in the privacy list that only you and the other person. And I also read the terms of the agreement. So yeah. So we could theoretically just talk through Messenger. And
yeah, we could.
I do have Astro's
they
phone.
do
I do have
just
Astro's
wrong.
phone number.
Yeah. Should we install a Japanese messaging app Line?
Honestly, I wouldn't mind being on a government watch list.
Fair. It would be really funny.
Are you saying I'm on a watch list?
Psycho.
You're friends with us. Yes, you are.
Don't you say that to me. That's
How?
sound black.
Yeah,
Yes.
actually, partly.
Black lives matter.
You're probably on
No,
the
they don't.
You're probably on ICE watch list then. Ouch. Anyways. Yeah, nigga, you're probably on ICE's watch list.
Yeah. Oh, I just stretched and I heard my entire back pop. Ooh, I heard my neck pop.
Hell yeah.
Let's see, can I go 3 for 3? Yeah. What? Don't I have a reward for the battle pass now? What the hell are they? What the hell are they on?
I feel like
Go to lobby.
we're 100% on the government watch list.
Oh yeah, no, we for sure are.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a break for a bit. I'm tired.
I
See you later.
yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna just